Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. They were eliminated by the Dallas Mavericks in a 4-1 gentleman sweep in the Western Conference Finals. The Minnesota Timberwolves, everybody thought after they went 4-0, swept the Suns team that everybody thought, oh, they're going to be the team that's going to compete against the Denver Nuggets. They're the team that's going to be in the Western Conference Finals against the Denver Nuggets. Then the playoffs come and they 4-0 sweep them. Then they go on and face the defending champions Denver Nuggets that everybody says, oh, this is going to be a fun matchup. I can't wait to see who wins. Oh, the Timberwolves are going to give them a fight, but I think Nuggets are easily going to be able to win this one, whether it be 6 or 7. Lo and behold, the Denver Nuggets actually got beat by the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards made the Nuggets his bitch. But they get to the Western Conference Finals and they meet a couple of good dudes named Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Those two take down Anthony Edwards. Those two are now playing in the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics. And one of the things with the Timberwolves I kind of want to discuss is what went wrong for the Timberwolves. And one of the big things that everybody has been saying is, was the Timberwolves just too young and not mature enough for this stage? And the reason why I say that is because after the game 4 in the Western Conference Finals, Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, a lot of them, a lot of the times were talking their shit. They're talking a lot. After that game, they were talking like they just won the whole damn series. And one of the things that Anthony Edwards said was, well, at least we didn't get swept, almost like he was just content with it. When a real champion is not content with just winning a game, 2 games. They're content when they've won the whole damn thing. What I wanted to do in this video is a couple of things. We're going to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, and like I said, talk about were they just too young, not mature enough for this stage. We're going to talk about what this team did this season and kind of what it means going forward. And then we're also going to discuss the future, go through some of the cap space, and discuss what this team could be in the 2-year 2024-2025 season and going forward. But I'm going to stop rambling, and we're going to get straight into this. So if you're going to enjoy, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now, like I said, following the Game 5 loss to the Dallas Mavericks, Anthony Edwards in the press conference, he was basically saying, quote, we'll be back next year like every player does. He's confident, and I do think the Timberwolves are going to be very good next season. Some people don't realize this, but Anthony Edwards is still very young. He's only 22. He's going to be 23 next season. He's still very good at what he's doing at a young age, which means he's only got a lot of room to grow. Now, one of the things he did say after they lost was right here, and I quote, it's a lot of our guys' first time being in this light, especially me. It's my first time, Edwards said. Quote, but we'll be ready, man. We'll be all right. First time, took a loss. Congratulations to the Mavericks, but we'll be back. We'll be all right, quote. And there's a part of me that likes that and also doesn't like that at the same time. Because in one sense, I like that saying. It's like, he's confident. We made some mistakes. It happened. Congratulations to the Mavericks. They beat us fair and square. It is what it is. We got to move on. But at the same time, like I said, after the Game 4, he was like talking his shit. At least we didn't get swept. That, I think, kind of sat with me. It sat with a lot of other people. And it didn't seem right that he said something like that and then follows up to where now it's like he's trying to play the good guy, trying to play the sincere, the humble guy. Now, real quick, why they lost this series? A couple of things. Number one, there's a guy named Luka Doncic across the court. He went nuclear in this series. Number two, as you can see here, Karl Anthony Towns, I think it was like game 1, 2, and 3. He could not do anything. And the reason why was because his only arsenal was shooting threes and trying to drive to the rack and making these awkward like layups where he was hunting fouls and he wasn't getting them. Then it was like in game 4, he kind of transitioned. He went to more mid-range jumpers, taking the threes that were wide open, but also getting down the paint and trying to get layups, dunks, etc. And number 3, I think a big one, defense was just not there. Their defense was good against Denver Nuggets. They were suffering or smothering them. They took over against the Suns. They were taking over. But here in this series, it's like the Mavericks, they could not be stopped. And the Timberwolves were supposed to have like the #1 defense in the league. They were supposed to like this defense that was unstoppable. If you get to 100 points when facing the Timberwolves, that is like the luckiest thing ever. Well, I don't know about you, but when I look here at the Timberwolves stats for their games, the past couple games they played, they're against the Mavericks. Let's see. Mavericks scored 108. Mavericks scored 109, 116. Even when they lost, 100. And then obviously the game they won, 124. Now let's discuss what the Timberwolves did this season and some of the things they possibly can accept and some things they need to move on, if that makes any sense. Because there's some stuff that worked for them and there's also some stuff that did not work for them. The stuff that worked, obviously they need to keep. Some stuff that I think that did not work, maybe they need to move on from. Anthony Edwards, there's a lot of times in the games where he's trying to just take over. I like that. We've always talked about other players like Jason Tatum, Jalen Brunson, a lot of guys around the league that they need to take over a game. They need to just say, everybody else, fuck off, get away from me, give me the ball, and let me go take over. I like that out of Anthony Edwards, and I think he needs to continue with that. Karl Anthony Towns, he seems like he knew what his role was throughout most of the playoffs, but then once they met the Dallas Mavericks, his role just like became obsolete. Jaden Daniels is a weird one because during the Denver Nuggets series, Anthony Edwards was asked about who was like the MVP of that series, and he was like Jaden McDaniels. Where was Jaden McDaniels during that series against the Mavericks? Because I he was like in and out. Just like sometimes he was good, sometimes he was bad. And I don't mean on the offensive end, I mean on the defensive end, because like he was supposed to be one of the guys whenever Anthony Edwards wasn't guarding Kyrie. He was guarding Kyrie. Well, last time I checked, I think Kyrie still got about 30 points a game, so he didn't do much. Rudy Gobert, I don't know what the fuck he's there for. He's supposed to be the defensive player of the year, and Luka and Kyrie were both getting the paint and scoring on him like with ease. It's like, I don't know if Rudy Gobert is just only good at guarding other centers, if that's the problem, and he can't guard guards like Luka and Kyrie, guys that can get in there and finesse their way into the rim. Mike Conley was a successful addition. He was a great point guard for them. Naz Reid was a big time player this year. He was shooting that 3-ball, and he could also get big down low. He could make some follow-up layups when the ball was getting bounced off the rim. Everybody else was just kind of there. Then a lot of the pieces were not really being used that much. Kyle Anderson was getting used. He was more of like their 3-and-D player, but his 3 was nowhere to be seen during that game 5. And now let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves cap space. Now here's the problem with them. I don't know if any of you know this or not, or have looked. They have the most cap space like over in the entire league. They're number 1 in total money spent, number 30th in total cap space available, which basically means they have no money. Looking at the players they have going forward, they have their cores there: Mike Conley, Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, and Karl-Anthony Towns. It's showing that they're estimating that they're going to get some of these guys signed back, which I hope so. Going into 2023-2024 season, it says here free agent year doesn't have anything listed. I'm guessing that means that they're free agents now. So hopefully they get these guys signed back. That's kind of the reason why I had them being projected out to be like signed for the big contract. I would say this with the Timberwolves: if they can keep this core 6 together, they're good. After that, they need to put together some shooters around the team. They need to get some guys in there that can play some solid defense, some shooters. There's a lot of guys out there they could possibly go after, though. Now, I'm going to wrap it up by kind of saying this. Minnesota Timberwolves, do I think they were still like a little bit too early to win the championship this year? A little bit. They got some room to grow. They got to develop. They got to mature a little bit in order to win a championship, I think. We've seen it in the past plenty of times where teams that we were like, oh my God, this team is like playing with their hair on fire. They're ready. They can win a championship. But then when the time comes that they need to be in front of the big lights, another more experienced team comes along and they just wipe the floor with them. That's what I think kind of happened with the Mavericks against the Timberwolves. I think the Mavericks, with them having like a championship experience from Kyrie Irving, a couple of other guys that have a lot of playoff experience, those guys were more ready versus the Timberwolves guys that were not very ready. And the Mavericks were able to just come by and just spank the living shit out of them. Now, do I think the Timberwolves are going to be back in the Western Conference Finals next year? That's a big ask. In the Western Conference semifinals, I think for sure. In the playoffs, 100%. In the semifinals, I think for sure. Finals, that's a tough task. It'll be challenging. It's possible, but I'm not going to bet my money on it. But other than that, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did go ahead and enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. Like I said, if you have a different opinion, do you agree or disagree with anything I said? What do you think about the Timberwolves season? Do you think they made a successful season, not successful? What do you think about next season? Can they bounce back for next season? If you're a Timberwolves fan and you want to leave your complete opinion about how they did down in the comment section down below, be more than welcome to talk about with you guys. If you're a fan of the content that I do poster and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified second I post. But without further ado, this has been Don't Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.